So I want to talk about uh, Andy Kindler. It's kind of weird. I'm not a big fan of uh, a lot of stand-up comedians. I'm not really a fan of. I mean, I don't know. I guess there are like some bits that I'll hear once in a while that I think are good, and I'll be like, "Oh, that was a pretty good bit. That made me laugh." But then the entire show does nothing for me. Like just name any comedian. There's probably a bit that I like from them, but it's very hit or miss for me, and it's usually miss. It's like I'll like literally 5% of their material or something. I just kind of find the format. I don't know. I guess like the kind of humor I like is more like radio riffing, like Howard Stern kind of stuff, like on the fly kind of stuff versus calculated jokes for the most part, which obviously is what stand up is mostly. And I do like some of that, but it just kind of feels a little, I don't know, it's a little too canned or something. Um, but yeah, with Andy Kindler, and it's kind of weird because I don't even know how big this guy actually is. Like I remember him on Comedy Central back in the day, but I don't know if he's like if your average person knows who he is. He's obviously like a celebrity, but it's strange. Like I can't gauge how big he is. Like if you go on Reddit or something, you kind of can tell who at least the big time comedians are among, I don't know, I guess 20-year-olds or something, like people in their 20s. But yeah, it's kind of hard to gauge with him. I can't tell how many people actually like him, or how well known his name is. But he does that state of the industry thing for whatever the hell it's called. It's like some comedy thing where he makes some, he does like an hour thing. I don't know if he's the person that that opens, not announces, but that like opens up the show, or what he does exactly. I just know that every year it seems like there's an hour from him about the state of the industry of comedy, and it's usually pretty funny. And like, that's kind of the stuff I like from him. Like I literally like him because he rips on other comedians, which is such a weird thing to like someone for. But I guess it's just because it's like it doesn't feel fake. It doesn't. It just seems like he just does not give a shit, and he just will just say whatever the hell he thinks about someone, and it's not even like obvious ones. It's not like like back when Louis C.K. everyone was worshiping him. And, I thought Louis C.K. had some good bits too. But like I said, I thought his entire show, whenever I saw an entire show from him, I thought it was horrible. I thought his shows were horrible. Like his, the Horace and Pete stuff, like I thought all that was just really bad and lame. And no one was really saying that kind of stuff. Everyone really, really seemed to like him, at least online. And, Andy Kindler would go up there in like 2015, 2016 and just rip into Louis C.K. and it was freaking hilarious. And it would just crack me up. I mean, I can still go back and listen to those State of the Union addresses and like just crack up at the way he's ripping into other comedians and just kind of, making observations that no one really observed. And he's doing it in a way. And like, here's another thing too. I think that a lot of comedians, they kind of get big because they have bits that you can kind of repeat. Like they'll have like a punchline or a bit, and you can kind of go to your coworker or something and be like, "Oh, have you heard this one?" Or like something will remind you of a bit, and you'll be like, "Ah, it's like that one-liner, from so and so or whatever," and it makes it memorable. It makes that person memorable. With Andy Kindler, he doesn't really have that. He doesn't really have like the one-liners or the bit with the punchline at the end. It's more like he's just rambling, and I know he's probably not literally rambling. He probably practices what he says before he goes on stage or whatever, but it sounds like rambling. It sounds like he's just talking to you, and he's just bitching about things. And it's not something you can repeat. You're not going to go, to work the next day and repeat what he said, and be kind of like repeating something Howard Stern said. It's like it's funny in the moment. It's funny in the conversation. It's not a one-liner that you can just repeat for the rest of your life and feel funny. And, like, I just love that about his stuff. I mean, like, he just goes out there and, one of his things was, he's talking about how Louis C.K. Uh, and this is like old stuff too. So keep this in mind. This isn't like something he did recently. This is from like 2016 because it's like the recent thing I listened to. When he's just like, oh, Louis C.K. said that, when they only do one take on Horace and Pete, one take, and they just keep going. And he's like, huh, wow, I didn't know that. Who would have thunk it? And it's just so funny. Like his inflection and everything is just perfect. And I don't know. There's just something about like how many layers of irony he has where if you don't know the show, it's not going to be funny. And he doesn't really care. He's just kind of commenting on something. If you know what the hell he's talking about, you're going to get it and you're going to crack up if you've ever seen it. If you like it, you might not crack up. You might think he's being a dick. And that's the other thing too, is that I've heard him, and it's hard to gauge because these, I don't know if they're filmed, but whatever I'm listening to isn't filmed. It's just, a recording, so you can't really see the audience. You can only hear them. And sometimes it seems like they're not laughing. Like sometimes they laugh, but sometimes it seems like they're not laughing or they're not really into what he's saying. And it almost makes it funnier. Like I don't know how he does it. It's almost like bombing, or at least it looking like it appearing or sounding like he's bombing makes him funnier because then he'll comment on the fact that no one's laughing. And I don't know how he does it, man. Like, it's just, I've never really seen a comedian go up on stage, not get laughs at some of his jokes, and then because of that, it's actually funnier. Uh, yeah, I just love him for that, man. And, he also does this other thing where, he goes on this show called The Majority Report, and he makes fun of Dennis Miller. And I don't know if he even still does it. I haven't watched it in a while. But they'll play like a clip of Dennis Miller trying to be funny. Because, Dennis Miller, I don't even know if anyone listening to this, not that anyone's even listening, but if anyone were to listen, like how old you would be if you know who any of these people are. But Dennis Miller used to be a comedian in the 90s that was considered quite funny. And then he went insane after 9/11 and became a weirdo psycho that suddenly changed his politics like overnight and instantly became unfunny. But yeah, so he's still kind of like this Dennis Miller dude, at least years ago. I don't know what the hell he's doing now because it kind of seems like they don't really do this anymore. But years ago, he used to be on Fox News a lot, and he would do like bits on there, and they were really cringy. And he had a few other gigs too, and they would like play like clips of it, and then laugh at it and make jokes about it. Andy Kindler and the show he went on. And that shit was so funny, man. Like I like crap like that so much more than stand-up comedy. Like just kind of like the riffing on some random dude or some piece of media or whatever the hell's out there. Like it just cracks me up. And Andy Kindler is so hilarious in those bits. Like the things he points out, the way he even laughs at him, like the way he like punctuates, like when Dennis Miller is going on about something, he's like giggling in the background. Like that shit brings me so much joy. I only wish there was more of it. It seems like there's a few clips out there that exist. I don't really know, I don't really, the thing is I'm like a fan of him in a way, but I also don't really like follow him. So I don't know if there are more clips, if there's like other stuff floating around that I don't know about where he's doing something similar. But yeah, just, I kind of like look him up and just kind of find random stuff where he's, talking to someone on a podcast or some random stand-up where he's making fun of someone else or something like that, where he's watching something and commenting on it. And the dude is funny. And I really like his many layers of irony and how he manages to like pull off being awkward and not always, getting the room on your side. Yeah, he has a really unique sense of humor, and I dig him. Alright, I just wanted to randomly ramble about Andy Kindler for some reason. Alright, see ya.